Anyone can have a guinea, but it really gets interesting when you go for two. The Go for Two podcast starting now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode
25.
The Dorsey Levens edition is what Nelson was talking about before. He said that's the reason why he wore 25. So
How about the Barry Bonds episode?
Barry Bonds
Barry
episode
Bonds,
before
okay.
the steroids, though.
Vince Carter.
Vince Carter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shady McCoy.
Who?
Shady McCoy.
Ah,
there we go.
Hey.
there he is. Shady McCoy. All right. So, as you can see, we got a special guest in the house today, Sam Forte.
What's up? Thanks
Kennett,
for having me.
from Kennett High School,
Mushroom Country, man.
Mushroom Country.
That's it.
Is it of the country?
Yeah. That's
It
the
is?
capital of the country, or the world, maybe.
Of the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a festival every year.
So Kennett is like olive oil, like Italy is to olive oil, as mushrooms are to Kennett Square. I don't really like mushrooms, but my wife does. So, anyways, welcome back, guys. Like I said, we got a special guest in the house. It's Sam Forte, quarterback from Kennett High School, also a lacrosse player. Don't you play basketball too, right?
Yeah, I do. Play point guard.
Which one's your favorite sport?
I would say I put football above the rest. Probably, I don't know. There's just something about like the team mentality and like coming home after a Friday game that's different than anything else.
I hear you. So everybody knows this is everybody's favorite couch quarterback, Dante, here with the stats guru, Don.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. If you saw the meme, do you understand why he just did that? And then we got Nelson, the running back.
Peace and blessings, everybody. What's going on?
Shout out to Rosanna. Shout out to Anna Mary. They popped in and said hello. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started, man. Shout out to the sponsors.
All right.
We got three of those boys coming in clutch today. The Cabin Rental Store out in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. That's my buddy Slade. He's over there running things over there. Of course, we can't forget the all important, the consistent sponsor of the show, Afloat Posters. Get your posters now.
Those are some killer posters, let me tell you.
I think if you're on the mailing list today, it's
Yes.
Actually my dad's company. He put out the 20% off
Yes.
of your order today.
Yeah,
so,
I got one myself with all the college football helmets. It is awesome.
Yeah. So go ahead. We told any of the high school teams out there, hey, this is your time, man. Show your pride. Get some posters. Get some custom posters for your your son or your daughter. He doesn't discriminate when it comes to sports. And then also we got my man Paul Stout's company, Stout Web Solutions, who's going to help us with our website here pretty soon. But hey, man, he's doing great things out there in Oregon. Glad he stayed safe from the fires. He was not in the way of the fires. So
Yes.
I grew up with Paul, man. He's like a big brother to me and a couple of my other buddies. But yeah, man, those are the three sponsors for today. So we appreciate all those guys coming through and showing love. I know some of them are not the biggest football fans, but they do support what we do here. So we do support what they do with their businesses too, which we'll get into a little bit later on today's sponsors. We got to pay the bills around here. So first topic of the day, I think we're going to go ahead and head over to why the Titans and COVID are just not getting along, man.
Man, bad timing for that.
I know, really bad time. We got Josh coming on here in the next 2 weeks. Come on through and check out that episode too. But what do you guys think is going on? They broke protocol on sometime this week going to a high school.
So you got to realize you're not bigger than the team. If there's a policy and set, there's a conduct and set, if there's a standard and set, you got to be a great teammate and abide by that. If you go outside of that, then you run the risk of having everyone on your team, the staff, the roster, being COVID. So that's what happened with these football players. These NFL guys, these are grown men. They get paid a lot of money. You think they'll be responsible and follow just the simple guidelines of getting test every day, waking up, not eating certain foods, not being around certain people, not having people in the camp in a bubble. If you look at the NBA right now, they're in a bubble. They're isolated. They have family that comes in and out. But you got to understand that if you don't follow this, it affects the whole team, not just yourself.
Exactly right. I mean, the bubble situation, when you had a player violate the bubble situation in the NBA, then they had to sit out. They couldn't come back in the bubble. All right, so they gave these guys a little more leeway and didn't have a bubble for them. but they're not following the rules.
Got to follow the rules, man. You know, especially now when all the sports are. It seems like everybody right now that doesn't like sports is against sports because of what sports are doing, you know, with this whole COVID thing going on. But to us, I mean, like, this is the lifeline of the podcast, like football. So, you know, for little guys like us, we do depend on, you know, football to, you know, be that getaway for most of us that, you know, don't enjoy any other sport but football. But I know, Sam, you know, you've been personally affected by it, and I know we have here too.
Oh yeah.
Some of us have been really impacted by COVID as well. So, what's kind of the protocols and stuff that's happening out there at Kennett? I know Nelson's coaching you, so we could ask him, but let's come from your mouth.
Well, I mean, everything's been pretty like smooth sailing up until the situation that I had with COVID. But I mean, we just had to have pretty regulated practices, you know, like distancing during practice and all that. And then if you had any type of exposure to COVID, then, you know, you had to do your 2 weeks quarantine. I personally got kind of a bad wind of it because I quarantined for 2 weeks and got my results back negative. But since I had a family member, my dad tested positive, I had to do a whole restart. So by the end, I'll have quarantined a whole month. Yeah. But, you know, it makes sense. I can't bring anything back to the team because then I could ruin our whole season, and on top of that, ruin the whole league season. So
yeah, we would have loved to have you out here, man, personally. But, you know, we'll probably get together another time when, you know, when the schools come knocking. So like I said, we'll get into your situation a little later. But it's kind of interesting that everybody pretty much has to be safe during this time, because if we don't, then it's all going to be stripped away. Then people like you, unfortunately, will be really affected by it when this is your time to shine. I mean, I couldn't imagine being in high school and being a 4 or 5 star athlete, and this is the year that I'm like really gonna come out. I've been working hard in the off season. I've been hitting the gym. Like, I know the playbook like nobody's business, and then COVID comes and takes all that away. So I know there's some people around the country that are super impacted by it right now, especially those ones that were in the spring, man, had their total seasons canceled. So I know this is going to be like a paradigm shift, kind of like what we see with the wintertime is kind of like going into the springtime right now. Right. It's going to, I think what we're going to see is like the fall sports kind of fall into the winter sports here, or the spring sports, which is going to be crazy.
No, some of these NFL players had options to take a stipend, all right, in the beginning of the season. And some were teetering and tottering on what they should do. Even Slay said, okay, I'm going to come. I don't know about the regulations. And then he found out what the regulations were. Then he decided to play the cornerback. But my thing is that when you realize what the situation you're getting into, it's either yes or no. You can't teeter-totter on what you're going to do. Either you're going to take the money or you're going to abide by the guidelines. And right now, it's affecting not only the Titans, but the teams that the Titans played. So I like the way Sam mentioned that, hey, if I come back now, I can affect the whole team as a whole. So his perspective is awesome. And that's what the perspective that these grown men have to have. This man is sitting here in high school and has a grown man perspective that everyone should have.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, definitely, like, I mean, I even go and relate it to some of the esports teams, right? I'm a big advocate of esports. I totally respect it, but you got these dummies over there that are talking about, oh, we don't want to be in a bubble and all this stuff because we got the dog at home and the girlfriend and blah, blah, blah. Hey, man, you really love the sport that you're doing. You got to do what you got to do. And unfortunately, looking at the NBA guys, I mean, Jimmy Butler's looking like he's a homeless dude. Like, they just picked him up off the street.
Did you see the whiskers? You know, they're curling up.
Man, he's out there looking homeless, but he's, you know, they've been in a bubble for almost 2 or 3 months now, and they got to do what they got to do. They've been away from their families as well. But, hey, when you get paid millions of dollars and, you know, trying to provide for your family, a lot of people go out and do anything. But for what the Titans are doing is unacceptable. I hate to say that with Josh coming on, but, you know, they got to follow the rules, man. Keep everybody safe so we can keep a safe and secure football season going, because this thing is not guaranteed. It's only going to get worse from here. The winter is right around the corner. And Elsa don't play no games. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to head over to talk about the top 10 in the NCAA. And kind of give you, I didn't want to say that if the season was to end right now, what would be the top 4? Because we know you got, here we go again, Nelson's gonna laugh, but we got Condoleezza Rice and the boys over there about to vote these teams in, because we could have number 1 going against the number 1 seed right now. But let's go ahead and name off the top 10 teams. So of course we got Clemson at the top right there, 3-0.
Right.
Alabama, number 2. They just secure their spot in the top 3 every year. Georgia, now this one surprises me why Georgia's at number 3. But I know it's because of this whole COVID thing too, and some of the divisions not starting right away. Florida, I hate to say it, I'm a Florida State fan. They're my pick. Got Florida sitting there at number 4. Notre Dame is about to smash Florida State tonight. They're sitting there at number 5.
Unfortunately.
Ohio State is at number 6. They ain't even play a game yet. That's
Exactly.
crazy.
Yep.
Miami, the biggest threat to Clemson. Mark my words. Don't they play today too?
They played Clemson tonight.
Man, that's the biggest threat right there. North Carolina, they didn't look too good against Syracuse, so I don't know why they're sitting there at number 8. Number 9, Penn State, didn't even play a game yet. And then this one right here, Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Yes.
At the number 10. I didn't want to get into the top 25 because of the asterisk next to all the divisions and things like that right now. But, hey, man, what do y'all think? Clemson at number 1, do y'all think they're going to fall tonight?
First and foremost, right now, the Clemson Tigers have to get ready for the Miami defense. It's going to be Trevor Lawrence's come-out party, but still, they have to worry about their defense. And if Clemson right now has a dog at running back at Etienne Travis Jr.
Travis Etienne. Okay,
Travis Etienne. Well,
I'm sorry,
his last name is Travis.
I don't see the hype when he's got that amazing offensive line, but okay.
Boy.
I know. I looked at the stats the other day, and he's like pretty much the number 1 running back ever to play.
I know.
He has been compared to Walter Payton. He's low maintenance. He gets his yards, and he's a battling ram when it comes to getting on the field. Get in his way and see what happens, and he can blow right by you.
All right. Travis Etienne?
Yes.
As long as that offensive line is healthy, we're looking at Ezekiel Elliott 2.0.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Slade. You said I'm late, but it's all good. You're here now.
Yeah, that line is what's impressed me more than the running back the past 2 years now. I mean, he take nothing away from him. He's a good running back, but if he didn't have the line, I don't think we'd see it.
Yeah, there was one game last year that I actually watched the whole thing. What game was that? I can't remember, but that offensive line was literally like 10 yards down the field, opening the gates of heaven for him to find the end zone. I mean, it was
Amen.
crazy. I mean, Alabama, we pretty much know what they're going to do. I mean, it's crazy they got another stud at quarterback out there, which we'll get into a little later.
Yeah.
Georgia, you know, when are they going to be able to be like? Wait a second. Let me go back a little bit. So, Georgia, right? Assistant from Nick Saban's tenure.
Mm-hmm.
Don put out a stat which we posted on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
None of his assistants have won
None.
against him.
None.
I mean,
Nick Saban is 20-0
20-0,
versus his ex, as he calls him.
against his ex-girlfriends, yo. This is crazy. Hey, Sam, what school would you go to if you had the choice?
Out of these top 10?
Out of these top 10 right here.
I mean, that's a tough question right there. Any of them I think would be beautiful to go to. I mean, I guess right now I'd have to say Clemson just because they got a beauty at quarterback right now. It'd be good to fill those shoes, but all those schools.
Nice.
But what if Dabo Sweeney leaves? Because they talking about he's going to the Texans. Which, thank God in heaven, man, that Bill O'Brien got fired.
You were waiting for that one.
Man, I bet you DeAndre Hopkins was waiting for that. He was sipping his tea when that happened.
He could take his dimple chin and go somewhere else, but
I just don't see what the whole magic was around him not only giving him the head coaching job, but giving him the GM spot as well. Yeah. When he really wasn't all that great at Penn State when he was there. I don't understand.
Yeah, that's a tough task if you got a GM and a coach. I mean, in the NFL, that's a lot of responsibility. So you see what happened when you get televised, you make the wrong decisions when you're picking players. That's weighs a lot of pressure on you when you got to go out and coach these same guys you selected in the draft. So, you know, I'm sure that the NFL is all about who you know. So he'll find a job, you know, no question. But pick either or. Either you're going to be a coach or you're going to be a GM.
So my dad says Dabo failure in the NFL, like, oh, Dabo is going to be a failure in the NFL like 90% of college coaches. Yeah,
he's going to fall on lines maybe of Nick Saban because, as we know, Nick Saban was in the NFL and he bounced right back to Alabama.
You can't bring the same scheme you're doing in college to the NFL because, first of all, they've already seen it. You know? they've already seen everything that's been thrown at them in college. So then when you get to NFL, it's a different beast.
I don't think it'll be another Chip Kelly though.
Chip
Oh
Kelly's the
man,
worst,
God,
man.
yeah.
Well said.
I mean, UCLA did decent last year. That's because of your boy Josh.
Josh Kelly.
Josh Kelly.
Yeah.
Which he's doing pretty decent in the NFL. One of Don's like under the radar guys,
Yep.
man. Like it's crazy. Ohio State ain't even played a game. Penn State ain't even played a game, and I think they played the very first week together. So that's going to be a game to watch out for. That's a huge measuring stick. The first week you're back.
Oh, I know.
Dang, I got to play Penn State right away.
But see, just because you haven't played a game, just the prestige of your college is in the top 10. So we all know the history about Penn State. We all know the history about Ohio State, and they just made it off the strength of their name.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty amazing to think about.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at the roster that returning players they have coming back, and I think it's the mutual respect of what they've done and who they have, but they're deserving.
Yeah,
exactly. Like I said, the boy out there at Ohio State that's the quarterback should have been the Heisman winner. The only reason that he wasn't, they kept pulling him out.
Listen,
they kept smashing people.
Justin Fields might be on a Zoom call talking about how he's going to get drafted in New York. You never know.
Man, he should have came to Florida State. Now look at us, trash. All right, so Miami, man, it's so tough to see that two of Florida State's rivals are in the top 10, and we're just like number 80 something in the country. I don't even want to talk about it. I know, Slade, you said don't sleep on your heels, but like North Carolina, just sometimes they don't look good. I'm not sure if Mac Brown is gonna come and get them boys back together, but it's crazy. And Oklahoma State, I think, is the biggest surprise here, like we mentioned before. Mike Gundy,
yeah,
with the mullet. Would you go play for Mike Gundy?
Yeah, I'll play for a mullet. Business in the front, party in the back type of mentality. Bro.
Yeah. He seems like a cool guy. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, that was funny. Hey, but don't realize that the running back at Oklahoma State is going to be an NFL prospect. So just want to throw it out there. If it wasn't for him and his actually controversial approach to his head coach, saying, "Hey, man, I'm not with that social racism. I'm not with the T-shirt." So
Chubba Hubbard.
Yeah. So realize that it's a lot of pieces there that making them top 10 right now.
Yeah, a lot of pieces to the puzzle right there. All right, so. We talked about the top 10. I mean, there's some notable ones outside of that too that we could be mentioning. I really want to watch out for what Michigan does in the Big Ten this year because I think they're going to come and surprise a lot of people. I know me and Don picked them last year to catch fire and they never did, but who knew that Justin Fields is just going to come in and they come in and smash people and get pulled out at halftime and then they cheap them out of the Heisman. But anyways, we'll go over to that. That's a segment right into the Heisman, right? All right, so Trevor Lawrence is sitting there at number 1. I don't think that's any surprise to anybody. I mean, 848 yards, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 90.9 QBR. Sunshine is doing sunshine things. Now, this is the guy on solely why I picked Florida to be as good as I said they were going to be this year. Kyle Trask came in as a redshirt freshman last year. Put Felipe Franks on the side and said, "Sit down, young man. I know you hurt, but I'm about to take this." And he's a beast. Big guy, big and strong, got a strong arm. We'll get into one of his teammates. It kind of reminds me of Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah, because he has a
the
nice target.
Kyle to Kyle connection.
Yeah.
Yep. Number 3, Justin Fields. But look like, season has not started in the Big Ten. That's just out of respect for him and what he did last year.
Yep.
I think that last play is like in his brain implemented when they were in the college football playoffs last year, where he threw that pass across the middle of the end zone and the receiver wasn't there. And he knew that he should have been there. And I think it was just a misread between him and the receiver. And I was devastated. I remember I was in a hotel room in Virginia Beach. Me and my wife was on vacation. We were watching the game. I'm sitting in the bathtub with a cigar in my mouth, and then but no, I seen him throw that pass, and I automatically knew. And Sam, if you go and watch that play, you'll know too. Just like, dang, the receiver just wasn't there when he thought he was going to be there.
But anytime you beat Michigan all 4 years, you're going to be okay in Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
So if he beats Michigan this year, Harbaugh, I'm sorry, he might be fired. Just want to throw that little piece out there.
You know, it's not his fault that like Ryan Day is an awesome coach too, like, and that they recruit well in Ohio State. But
you gotta trust me. I lived in Michigan. I played in Michigan. You gotta have that W on the left column if you're a Michigan player. Trust me.
Right. Yeah, I totally get it, man. I totally understand. So next in the Heisman, De'Aaron King is gonna be the reason why.
Under the radar. He's under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think he came from Ohio State too, right? I think he was a transfer from Ohio State. Go ahead and fact check me on that one. But I think he was Ohio State guy, which would be kind of weird because of Joe Burrow and then Justin.
Right.
You catch my drift.
You see the pattern there.
Yeah. Quarterback factory out there. Kyle Pitts. This is the one that I wanted to circle. When's the last time you seen a tight end in the Heisman?
Bingo.
But that dude has 12 catches, 227 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Anytime he catches a ball, this dude's going almost 20 yards every time at 18.9 yards.
Yeah, right now he's had 5 targets right now against Texas A&M, and he is looking like a beast with those 5 targets. He's catching the ball, and he's getting himself in position to make great plays. This guy right here might be in the top 2 draft. So we might be saying like a Manti Te'o kind of situation where it's like this position really shouldn't be up for the Heisman, but he's just been killing it the whole year. When's the last time a Heisman was a tight end? Since Antonio Gates. Was he even in?
No, he wasn't. I think the last time that the Heisman was won by anybody that wasn't an offensive player was Charles Woodson, right?
Yeah, Charles Woodson was a defensive cornerback, but he definitely played both sides. Well, a squeak of both sides. But he played returner too, didn't he? He did. But as far as a tight end, I think there's nobody ever. As far as Mike Ditka, he won it. He was in the running for Heisman. Mike Ditka when he was playing in college.
Mm.
You got to fact check me on that too.
The Bears,
The Bears, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go. We'll go and look that up too. Don will get on that. The stats guru. Mac Jones.
Who?
Mac Jones from Alabama, 684 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He's got the highest QBR out of everybody that's in this top 6 for the Heisman at 94.3.
Yeah, he just has Alabama behind his name, and right now, any man that comes out of Alabama. Actually, I don't know. Alabama quarterbacks don't really make do in the NFL. So, when was the last time you had an Alabama quarterback besides? I think it was who? McElroy. Didn't recognize it. Then of course you got
and AJ McCarron, who's been a second or third stringer everywhere that he's went. Might as well just go and fill up one of them broadcast booths, man. Because join your boy McElroy.
And then your Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts transferred out of Alabama to Oklahoma to get his shine. So I don't know, Alabama quarterbacks,
they're a little suspect, right?
Yeah. So
So that's pretty much the Heisman, closing it up. Trevor Lawrence, Kyle Trask, Justin Fields, De'Aaron King, and Kyle Pitts are probably the 2 that everybody's raising the eyebrow about. But I mean, if you look at their stats, they've been doing great. And then Mac Jones is not really at all surprised because we know how Nick Saban is with his team. So you're just going to sprinkle an Alabama player in there. It's either going to be a quarterback or a running back, anyways.
We'll see what Tua does with the Dolphins, though. We'll see.
Not if Fitzmagic keeps doing what he's doing. He's squeaking out winning games. Yeah. But I don't think that'll. Everybody knows that about Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know that with the Bills. That magic only lasts for like 6 games, and then they pull. So let's go ahead and get over to the NFL now. So if the season was to stop today, right? If the season was to stop today and the playoffs were to start today, look at these teams from the NFC that would be in it. You got your boy Green Bay Packers sitting up there at the number 1 spot. Well, the Seattle Seahawks have been kicking butt too. Russell Wilson's been kicking butt. Let me rephrase that. Russell Wilson's been kicking butt.
MVP alert.
Yes.
Dude has not gotten 1 MVP vote his whole career. This year he's about to do that Okay. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now this is before the Thursday night game, people. Tampa Bay Buccaneers sitting there at number 3. Mike Evans is having an amazing year. I think he has like 6 touchdowns already this year. So who's ever got him on his fantasy team? Actually, my wife's got him on her fantasy team.
Yes.
Don't jump on the bandwagon, guys. Don't let this Tampa Bay roller coaster get you, because it's going to be up and down all year. I said that in the last podcast. Please don't get on that bandwagon, because you will definitely get hurt.
I'm on the bandwagon. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm sorry. Philadelphia Eagles. This one's the weird one. Why they're automatically in it, because they only have 1 win over Los Angeles, who has 3 wins, and Chicago, who has 4 wins. So this is a weird bracket right now. I don't see the Rams sitting there for very long with the Cardinals in that division.
Oh, I thought you meant the Eagles were going to take them out.
As long as Jalen Ramsey don't get anybody else's sisters pregnant on the Eagles, then he'll be fine.
Oh, my.
Ooh. But you know what? I like number 6, Chicago Bears. They showed something just the other night. All right. They have a great defense, and Khalil Mack is out of the MAC, okay, out of Buffalo. But he's definitely going to be the difference maker on defense. But don't forget who is leading them now in Chicago. There's a guy named Nick Foles that kind of took over. And
What do you think of that, Dante?
yeah, what you think
I
about
mean,
that
I have
quarterback?
no thoughts because Allen Robinson is there. You know, I don't think he gets enough love, man. Come back to Jacksonville. give him Minshew somebody to throw to. Well, I can't forget about my boy DJ Chark over there too. But you know,
How about Nick Foles over Tom Brady Part 2 though?
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that.
Uh-huh.
okay, guys. Just gang up on Tom Brady. That's okay. But yeah, Khalil Mack, man. I don't know if you guys seen that play on what's his name? Travis Worth. Is that his name? I know his last name's Worth.
Mm-hmm.
Right tackle for Tampa Bay. He just kind of just superplexed that dude with one arm. I was like, I'm done. Hip tossed him like Ronda Rousey.
Oh, did you see Aaron Donald with the monster push against those?
That's not surprising at this point.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I'm gonna just let y'all know right now, man. Aaron Donald was on a podcast like last year, and he had the best pizza idea. I know this has nothing to do with football.
Where we going, man?
But just hear me out. He said, order a pizza. He said, y'all gonna be hating, but order a pizza with no sauce, right? Cheese, sausage, and bell peppers. Or not bell peppers, banana peppers. I was like, that sounds gross. I ordered it, and I ordered it like 4 more times that same week. I was like, see, this is what gives him his superpowers right here. So yeah, this is what the NFC would look like, guys. I mean, out of this, who do you think is going to win it all? If the season was to start today, it's going to be hard to say that Green Bay Packers ain't going to come in there and just smash everybody. You
know, you got that bad man out of Green Bay. You got the quarterback,
but you got Aaron Jones.
Wait a minute.
You got Zadarius Smith.
Yeah, but you got Aaron Rodgers. So that's the thing.
And when y'all piss him off, man, just don't do anything to piss Aaron Rodgers off. Because there's 2 people you don't piss off: Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I would take my money on Aaron Rodgers right now, because right now he got his team where he wants it. You know, he is pretty much the leader of that squad. He's a vocal leader, and he's the leader on the field. So once you get you in the right spot, he'll throw you the ball on a dime, on the money. Now with the defense has to improve. But I think Aaron Rodgers right now, if he stays hot like this and doesn't fizzle out at the end of the year, these guys right now are scary. All right, the NFC is looking wide open. But if he can get past Russell Wilson, which I got as MVP, Aaron Rodgers could sneak away and ride off in the sunset and beat the Drew Brees and Tom Brady and have an NFC championship on his hands.
And you're exactly right, Nelson. It depends on what part of the season. Green Bay inevitably has 1 to 2 weeks of a down period where they're just flat. It depends when that happens this season. It's going to depend on how far they go. Yep. And Seattle's right there waiting for them.
Yep.
They are. Sam, who you got, man?
I got Green Bay. I've been loving watching Aaron Rodgers. He's always got a smirk on his face, too, when he's playing. And I mean, Seattle's looking great too. I think Russell Wilson's been taking care of stuff, but I think without Devontae Adams, the way that Aaron Rodgers has been playing already, once he's back, I think they got him.
I mean, Adam Lazard is playing good. There's so many people that are just stepping up to the plate with. Your boy that had the 3 touchdowns the other day, I always forget his name, but you got Valdez Scantling who's doing this thing, and then anybody can't forget Aaron Jones too. Both of the Aarons are just AA Ron. Yeah, I can't forget about the AA Ron crew out there because they're going crazy. And then Zadarius Smith, who I think is the sack leader right now,
yes, he is
in the NFL. So their
Facts.
defense is nasty without Martinez back there. So that's the NFC. AFC, I don't think this really surprises anybody. We see a lot of familiar faces, in a lot of familiar places. But there are a couple teams here that do surprise me. Kansas City, of course, just came out the gate week 1, just started smashing people. Buffalo Bills.
Don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years.
But you know when y'all get to the Super Bowl, y'all ain't winning.
Okay, so we're the
How
only
many
team that
times did
wins
y'all lose in a row?
only AFC championship win 4 in a row. Now, get this. I understand the last playoff game we won was against Jacksonville. All right, it was 9-7. Okay, I get that. But Josh Allen and Tay Diggs right now are having a connection right now, and our defense is coming. It's always been, our cornerbacks has always been good. Our D lineman has always been solid, and our linebackers has always been superb. Now, the only thing is that if Josh Allen last year, he has a playoff experience, all right, transfer that to this year, have the opportunity to make a play, make it, and don't try to do too much, because right now he has plays right now designed for him to run out of the pocket. If he has good ball security, if he can get to his spots on the field, all right, we're gonna have a chance. We have a chance to win a game. Now that all depends on who we get in the first round, because if we get past, okay, if we get a bye, if we went out in the AFC East, if we get a bye, that will help us tremendously, because we could get refreshed, we could get restored, we could get back inside to the playoff realm. Now, with that being said, if we get in the AFC, if we get Baltimore, okay, or Kansas City or somebody like that, we're going to be in trouble. We need a soft team to kind of ease our way past our first win in his last 3 years, because last time we beat your Jacksonville Jaguars was in 2017. All right, so we got to get back to those winning ways to be. I'm sorry, Buffalo Bills fans, stand up. Bills Mafia, stand up.
Just don't be pile driving through any tables anytime soon.
Yeah, so I think if we get a soft team, get a wild card underneath our belt, Josh Allen is going to lead this squad, and we're going to make a difference in the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's going to be hard. It really depends on who they get, who they play. Because based on that graphic where you had the playoffs up there, once these Titans get recovered from all this COVID, if they get into the playoffs, they're going to be a team to watch like they were last year. Not saying they're going to win out,
right,
but they're going to be a tough team to play.
Yeah.
We're not going to be an easy win. Tell you that.
Yeah, so let's read some of these comments before we get into all right, so Pete Carroll's the exception to coaches that did well in the NFL. Yeah?
Yeah,
that's true,
I
because
agree
he
with
adapted. I'm going to need the Panthers to draft Justin Fields. That is a realistic possibility. Slate, with the way that your boy Matt Rule was doing, drafting all defensive players and then missing out on Isaiah Simmons this year.
Yeah.
Now, y'all ruined Isaiah Simmons' career,
come
man,
on,
because
man.
he's not doing anything right now. This is crazy. Larry Kelly and Leon Hart, only 2 tight ends to win the Heisman.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Dad's the stats guru.
Well,
nice.
I had that on my phone. I was
Nice.
going to look for a spot to put that. It'd be nice to if we had a tight end win this year, to actually have somebody with a color photo
Nice.
instead of these
look
black
at that.
and white photos.
Got you.
Hey, that
Got
might
you,
need to
Don.
be the next graphic right there. I like the production, by the way, guys. Appreciate it, Slade. We really appreciate that. I've been working hard on this, man. Have a great day, guys. I have to run. Hey, Paul, appreciate you, man. Hopefully you get to catch the replay of this where we go through your ads. So we appreciate you sponsoring the podcast. So let's go back over to Sam. Who you got coming out of here, man?
No surprise. I got Kansas City coming out of there. I'd love to see the Bills get a couple wins, though, in the playoffs. Drew, for your sake.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
You notice the quarterback picks Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes.
Of course.
Hey, it's a quarterback nowadays.
Of course. Baltimore Ravens, staple of the playoffs. Indianapolis Colts, though.
They're going to sneak up.
I don't think so.
So you don't think Phillip Rivers can lead those boys at least until a wild card?
I think Jacoby Brissett got the elbow, man.
Yeah.
Hard because he got hurt last year and he was having an amazing season.
Yeah.
I think this is just purely just to have a veteran come in and get him suited back up to play.
Yeah.
I've been watching Michael Pittman too. He got hurt last week. One of the wide receivers that they drafted from USC. I don't know, man. I do like Jonathan Taylor though.
Jonathan Taylor's running really well.
Jonathan Taylor is a beast.
Their defense, now they got a top-rated defense in the NFL right now, but they haven't played a lot of top teams yet. So we'll see how they do this week. See if they're real.
Yeah, coming out of Wisconsin, I knew he was going to make a splash in the NFL.
He could have been the best ever if he would have stayed one more year.
So, yeah, he shout out to all the running backs, RP Pride. But, yeah, so right now, there's going to be definitely a chance to have him, have a long career, more than 3 years.
And then lastly, we got my pick. Oh, actually, the Pittsburgh Steelers sitting there at number 3. They've been having a solid season, man. I didn't think Ben Roethlisberger was going to come back and do as good as he has been. Cam Newton should have went to the Steelers, by the way. I still believe that.
That theory was nice, though, man.
Whoa. Breaking news. Hold on. Oklahoma and number 22 Texas tied at 45 after both sides missed field goals in third overtime. Followed the finish on the ESPN app. Wow. Red River rivalry for real.
How about that?
That's crazy. But I got my pick there, the Tennessee Titans sitting there at number 4, man, for the Super Bowl. Even though with this COVID protocol, it don't look too good.
Well, let's be optimistic. We might see something.
We'll speak to Josh about that when he comes.
In 2 weeks,
He's the man behind the wins. We'll get into that a little bit when he gets on, but so that kind of wraps up both the brackets. It's kind of interesting to see that some familiar faces sitting there in the NFC, some familiar faces sitting there at the AFC.
Yep.
I don't think it's any surprise Kansas City might win it again this year. But dang, if they got to play Green Bay and Seattle, what if Green Bay and Seattle play each other again? Because Seattle's got their number in the playoffs.
Well, they have had some classic matchups in the past.
Yep.
So remember the onside kick and the guy missed the ball and the game was over?
I don't know what else Aaron Rodgers could have did against us, man. To be completely honest with you. I mean, he did everything he could the last 2 times. All right, so we're going to head over to some of the stats leaders, man. Interesting names popping up on here, but I think the Bills going to come out the winners. Getting that boy Stephon Diggs leading in reception yards, right?
Absolutely. Receiving yards, we'll start there. Stephon Diggs, he's actually tied for first, 403 yards. And he's tied with that one DK Metcalf. Not bad, huh?
DK Metcalf, not too bad for a tight end, right?
And then 2 yards behind right now in third is Amari Cooper.
I don't care what y'all say about DK Metcalf. My man's got some little feeties, though. Y'all better watch out. He's got the feeties.
Well, for those guys to receive the passes, you got to have somebody throwing the ball. So let's hit the quarterbacks.
Yep.
Yards, number 1 at 1,690 yards, Dak Prescott. Now, the interesting thing, 45% of those yards are when Dallas is trailing.
So you step it up, my man, when you're losing? I mean,
yeah.
I like Dak Prescott, man. I've always have. I ain't going to say anything bad about my guy. Just the Dallas defense is probably the worst of all time.
Yeah, it's
like.
hand
trash.
They
go hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly, man.
Man, they're almost as bad as Jared Goff is to a person.
Yeah.
A quarterback, I mean. Not coming after your life, Jared. I promise.
Nelson,
but as you will learn, Sam, Jared Goff
and Matt Ryan
are trash. Go look at the stats. They're the same quarterback. It's scary.
All right, I'll check that out.
Coming in at number 2 is Josh Allen at 1,326 yards.
Jeez.
And then Russell Wilson is third at 1,285.
Russell Wilson's not really known to throw a lot of yards.
No.
He's just known to win a lot of games and be very methodical with the offense.
Yeah, he's very consistent.
Now go ahead and run to my boy from Florida State.
Yeah, we got to hit the running backs here. So for the rushing yards, in number 1 spot right now is Dalvin
Man,
Cook.
I'm trying to tell you.
Kudos to those who have Dalvin Cook on their fantasy team.
Yes, he's gonna get
That
you
would
your
be
points
me.
quick, fast, and in a hurry.
424 yards. Second is Aaron Jones at 374 yards.
The touchdown machine, almost like Tony Baker, the touchdown
Yeah,
maker, back at NC State.
Yep. And then Nick Chubb rounds out the top three at 335.
It's kind of crazy that he got hurt.
Yeah,
it is.
The injury
That's a
was
shame.
very dramatic, and the way he snapped his leg out and back then, and then now look at him.
Oh yeah, back in Georgia.
Yeah, on the sideline, man. See, that's the thing. If you get injured, your season's not over, your career's not over. Just fight back and win. All right, at all. And actually, this man right here, we're looking at Sam Forte, was injured. All right, now he's back. How long was that injury for, Sam? It was about a couple months.
I got surgery in early January, and then I got my cast off like July. And then so honestly, and then probably like 2 months of physical therapy after that. So it takes a while, but you just got to fight through injuries.
No doubt,
Yep.
man. You got to learn the difference between being hurt and injured.
Yeah.
All right, throwing a little love to the defensive guys. As Dante did mention, in sacks, Zadarius Smith has 5 sacks, and he's tied for first with Myles Garrett.
Tell him who's number 3. Comeback player of the year.
Alden Smith at 4 sacks.
Let him smoke his weed. He's all good.
And he's tied with Yannick Ngakoue.
Oh, let's go!
Wow, way to put the dagger in all the Jaguars fans' hearts.
Yeah.
Dang.
And if you don't know Sam, he's a Jaguars fan.
Yeah, no, I figured. I called up.
Jaguars and Seahawks, man. I choose one from each division. But yeah, I've always been a lifelong Jaguars fan, though, since Mark Brunell with Keenan McCardell and Jimmy Smith back in the day. Go look at that trio.
And then finishing out the defense, the guys,
Fred Taylor, too.
the guys that are doing all the work, making all the tackles. Eric Kendricks with 45 tackles. And once again, for those who have him on their fantasy team, well done, well done. Blake Martinez at 43 and Zach Cunningham at 43.
Crazy. Now let's think about, there's 3 players on here that either were former Vikings or current Vikings. Dalvin Cook is a leader in rushing. Eric Kendricks is the leader in tackles. Both Vikings players. And the former Viking, who is the receiving leader, Stephon Diggs.
There you go.
My sister's ex-boyfriend.
Thank you, Buffalo Bills, for picking him. Thank
No, I'm serious. That's a true statement.
All right, to finish out the stat leaders, let's hit just some teams. We'll hit just the leaders. In total yards, obviously, with Prescott throwing all those yards, Dallas does lead at 509 yards a game. They lead at passing at 407 yards a game.
They got to lead at something, Don.
Exactly.
They're not leading in the W column.
And then we got the rushing leaders, 204 yards a game. That would be Cleveland.
Surprisingly.
How about that?
But does that include the reverse with Odell Beckham?
Odell Beckham.
That dude is a wizard, man.
And on the defensive side, yards allowed, 236 yards a game. That would be Indianapolis. Sack leaders. You ready for this one? It's 17. That would be Philadelphia.
How about that?
How?
Yeah.
Well, in practice, they're going against that O-line, so they get used to getting past that.
I don't know why y'all brought Jason Peters back.
And then, And then turnovers. Cleveland leads in turnovers with 6.
Now, I will say this. Cleveland has surprised me this year. I had them going 3-13. But they have surprised me, but it's still early, I'll wait. How many wins they got? 3? So they might lose out for the rest of the year. You never know.
So that wrapped up all the leaders up to this point, since it's pretty much like the first quarter of the season almost. So
much.
But like I said, we got to pay the bills around here, man. We got 3 sponsors that we got to give a shout out to. So let's go ahead and head over to the Cabin Rental Store, man.
Absolutely. The Cabin Rental Store is your Great Smoky Mountain luxury vacation cabin destination. They are privately owned and operated and offer a wide variety of Gatlinburg cabins that are sure to indulge all of your vacation desires. Nowhere else will you find cabins with the amenities that they offer for your family vacation, wedding, or corporate retreat. Visit them at thecabinrentalstore.com, kind of like the running back. Thecabinrentalstore.com. Remember that, folks.
Yep.
Or call 877-301-0776.
So shout out to Slade and the Cabin Rental Store, man. I think me and my wife's family actually are talking about going out there, so I might have to include my dad in that conversation. Some really nice spots. Go on their website and look at it. Look at this bedroom right here.
I mean, it's
amazing.
Yeah, that's nice.
Amazing. All right. So we're going to go ahead and head over to our next sponsor, the second sponsor of the show, Stout Web Solutions. Stout Web Solutions is offering the Go For Two podcast viewers a free website audit. Normally $500. Get more leads, grow your business, get your professional review this week. And remember to always go for two and make Stout Web Solutions your partner in all things digital. Visit stout.co/go-for-two to request your free audit. Hey, man, shout out to Paul for that.
Heck
hey,
yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's super crazy that you guys are going to get this for free.
That's a $500 offer, man.
$500 credit.
You believe
You
that?
know what I'm saying? So shout out to Stout Web Solutions. We appreciate you coming through in the podcast, and I might be working with Paul to kind of revamp our website too, because right now I know it's like a direct link that takes you to, to the show. But hey, it does its thing. So next, the always in support of our podcast, is my dad. So
The poster man.
the poster guy, fellow graphic designer himself, Afloat Posters. He's got a little ad that we're gonna play here for you. So just sit back and relax. Look at these beautiful posters.
Wish I knew it from the start, that I'd have nowhere to run in the end. Wish I could find a way to part from this closed-minded path that never ends. Never ends. But it's hard to leave when it's hard to me. You know it's hard to leave when it's hard to me.
Shout out to all those guys. Thanks for sponsoring the podcast, man. It's the first time that we had 3 people come through with the love. So if you guys know anybody that wants to sponsor us, hit us up in the DMs. We got a pretty fair price, I think. 15-second minimum ads. We can get into that later. But if you got anybody that wants to give a shout out for their business, or we can give a shout out for their business, we'll be fine to hook them up. And as you heard the voice, man, I couldn't do an ad like Don does. It sounded smooth as ice cream, buddy. It was all good. So
Yeah, Big Daddy King, hey, I'm going to teach you about these mergers right here.
yeah, the quiet storm. All right, so we got the man of the hour here, man, Sam Forte. You know what I'm saying? He's here with us live, as he's been for like the last 45 minutes. Y'all saw him.
Yep.
So we appreciate you coming on the podcast, man, and hopefully, we get to spread some love in regards to you playing on this football field and getting these stats up, because let me head over to the little stats though. The stats are nasty. 251 for 417, 3,500 yards and 30 touchdowns, man.
60% completion ratio. Yep.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
And he's got the little feeties too. Look at
Yep,
him.
look at him.
243 carries, 738 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? That this guy's got the little feeties. Get out the pocket. Don't get hurt. Don't get hit. Right?
Yes, and he got that dark side to him too. He got 5 career interceptions. He can go up and get that ball.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is very interesting. He's the only 3-year starter in the Chesmont area this year.
That's funny. I didn't even realize that stat until you guys told me. That's wild, though.
A big shout out to Nate Heckenberger for those stats. Thanks for that information, Nate. We appreciate that.
Yeah, Nate's the man over there. So We appreciate you getting those stats because looks like your high school didn't want to update some of your stuff for whatever reason.
Yeah, they only had like 3 games updated. We couldn't get the whole year's worth of information, but Nate was like, man, I sent him a message, and
He
it
was
like
right
a
on
half
it, man.
hour. He was on it, man.
Yeah. Slade said, nice, Sam. So you get a little shout outs here from my people. Look at that. He's got a little top fan badge next to his thing. Look at that. That's pretty cool, man. All right, so we're gonna ask you a couple questions. We're gonna put you on the spot. We want you to talk yourself up. You already got the stats to back it. You know what I'm saying? I seen the highlights. You know, you're doing your thing. But Don's got as the stats guru, he also is the question guru as well. So.
I want people to get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, man.
So, when did you start playing organized football?
I started playing organized football in 5th grade. So honestly, a late start compared to like a lot of my friends. But yeah, I played Titans, which is like the Pee Wee football type of league for our area. And I just loved it, so I kept going with it.
Cool. Yeah, I saw one of the stats that Nate sent in Pee Wee football. You were a starter at cornerback, and you were a backup running back.
Yep, that was me.
There you go.
It's everything.
So when did you start playing quarterback, and what got you into playing quarterback?
Well, it was kind of an accident, honestly. It's a funny story how I like really became the quarterback for Kennett. At least my freshman year, I played like 3rd string backup, kind of just like a guy to be a part of the roster. I didn't call myself a quarterback then. And then the following year when Coach Frazier came along, we were going through summer camp and whatnot. And then one day after practice, he asked me to throw him a ball because he was trying to work with the running backs after practice. And I threw it to him, and he liked the way that it looked. So that was basically my first like shine on it. And he threw me in there, and it worked out.
That's awesome.
So that was sophomore year.
Oh, that's great. That's excellent. Now, this might be a little different of a question, but mentioned earlier you play lacrosse. Do you bring any of the lacrosse skills into the football game, or any of the football skills into the lacrosse game?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so. Like, I think anytime you play multiple sports, there's got to be something that transfers over, whether it's like on the mental side of things or like really on the field. If I had to like say actually what it would be with lacrosse transferring to football, I think like in lacrosse, you have to dodge on your defenders and whatnot to get to the goal. And I think I take a lot of the like juke moves that I would use in lacrosse and implement them into like scrambling and whatnot.
Yeah, I've seen some of your highlight videos, and I've noticed that on some of your runs, it's almost like a spin move or something like that you're doing.
Yeah.
It looks good. Looks good. Now, Kennett was 11-2 last year. What's your projection for this year?
This year, I think we're going 4-0 and then deep into the playoffs because, I mean, as you know, there's an asterisk next to the season with how long the regular season will be and whatnot. But I'm taking it just as seriously as any other season. So I'm putting us at undefeated through the regular season, and I want to win. I want to win our side of the chestnut for sure. I want to take a chip home one of these days.
So with the short season comes unfortunate things like you really have to play really tight every single game
week,
too.
yep.
There's no room for mistakes. You might be able to have 1 or 2 games in a 12-game or 10-game season that, you know, people can look like, oh, okay, that was just a better team than you, blah, blah, blah. We can dust that off. But now it's one of those things where you got to come in and you got to just smash people like Justin Fields did.
Yeah, you must much less time to get your crap together because a big thing in football, I feel like, especially early on, is you walk on the field and whether you win or lose, you walk out of there and your coaches are all like, I've been telling you for weeks, like, you got to be ready because, like, once that first game of the season hits, everyone's mentality changes. You realize, like, what football really is, at least the younger guys do. So people just got to whip into shape a little bit faster.
Yep, and that's where your leadership will come in place. Along with leadership, though, I see that you play two positions.
Yep.
All right. 5 interceptions is nothing to scoff at in your career. I mean, you already got the little feeties, what we talked about. So you got to have the little feeties to get the interceptions too.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to lie. You are the stats guru, Don, but I'm going to correct you on the interceptions. Last year I had 6 alone. So I think I might have ended up with like a total of 8 over career. But anyways, I love playing defense.
See.
I love playing defense. That's like really where I think I started to love football. And it's funny because I'm sure at some point I could have ended up just playing offense by itself, but our defensive coordinator always made fun of me whenever I would have to do like QB drills while they're working on defense. He would like yell at me. He'd say, "Somebody get that guy a red jersey. He doesn't belong out here." So I've always kind of liked the fact that I play defense. It makes you seem a little bit meaner at the quarterback spot.
So that leads me into, now that we know that you love playing defense as well, if you're recruited high by whatever college, right, that comes through and they say that they're number one on your list based off of prestige, everything, and they said, right, Sam, we'd like you to come in as a safety or a cornerback and maybe a third string quarterback, would you be willing to switch positions to take that scholarship?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's best to take your opportunities wherever they come. And like I said, like I love playing defense, so it wouldn't necessarily be like a huge decision for me to be like, oh, but I really want to play offense and whatnot.
So that's a good look at your ego right there. And I think a lot of coaches are going to like that, because
absolutely,
if you really look at the grand scheme of things right now, the biggest knock on Tim Tebow, right? And we'll get into some others that were actually switch positions and are pretty successful. But the biggest knock on Tim Tebow is that they wanted him to switch positions. Regardless, if you think about it, right? Tim Tebow won games, which it is what it is. Like, you could put your stamp of approval on that or whatever, but really being efficient as a player, they really wanted him to play another position, whether it be running back, fullback, or tight end. Who knows? This dude could have been the best ever. But I always question how much he really loved football, just for the simple fact that he never wanted to switch and play something else. So the fact that you that you really love football and that you would play any position, you put your ego aside to win for the team, that's almost the message that I'm getting there. I'll tell you one thing about one of the current starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now. If you didn't know, Texas A&M used to have this little wide receiver named Ryan Tannehill. I'm not going to correct myself because he actually went there as a wide receiver. Transferred over to quarterback, put his ego to the side for the team, became a quarterback, and now he's being pretty successful with the Titans. Had a kind of a late career resurgence. Another guy, Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman played quarterback in college too. Came to NFL, switched to wide receiver. Now, I mean, you had the exception of people like Lamar Jackson, but there's not a lot of Lamar Jacksons in the world, unfortunately. Not too bad for running back, but the biggest misconception about Lamar Jackson is people didn't really watch him in college and see what he actually did, because he actually used to rip people apart both ways. But what I'm trying to get at is that some of the most successful players put their ego to the side for the team and find success somewhere else. Unfortunately, there just might be somebody better than you at that position, but hey, you can find success somewhere else, which honestly would make you a better quarterback and a better DB as well.
Now, Sam, I know you've been in pressure situations, and I know you've been in situations where you had to execute. Prime example, last year against Shellingham, you have a game-winning touchdown. We all know that type of player has to step up on big-time stages. What is your mindset going into pressure situations where you know you have to execute?
I mean, I think the best way to go about a high pressure situation is by treating it just like every other situation. You know, if you're always playing like it matters 100%. Like if you treat every game like it matters just as much as the next, when that high pressure game comes, it's not going to feel like you got a mountain of pressure on top of you. I mean, obviously, I think just the way that the nature of the game is, you probably will be a little bit more nervous in a playoff game and whatnot. But just keeping your head, keeping your mental is the best way to go about it. And I mean, I've had ups and downs in that situation. Like you said, I won the game against Strathaven, and then you move on one more playoff game. And against Cheltenham, I didn't have my best game. And I think that was honestly a big result of like the mental aspect of the game. Like I started to let negative things in the game snowball and whatnot. So I think I just learned from that like you just have to have your mental right. You have to like, if you're prepared physically, mentally, and then once you get in the game, you don't let things ruin your mindset, I think you could handle any game.
It's a good mindset to have. As far as colleges, do you have any colleges that are looking at you right now?
I know Lycoming football has been talking to me a little bit, but other than that, I haven't really had a lot of football teams reach out. I mean, as you guys know, I'm going to St. Joe's to play lacrosse right now. So I'm open to any football options because I love the sport and I'd like to explore that option, but not a lot going on right now, but it'll come.
Right.
Give me the seat.
Who's your favorite lacrosse player?
Favorite lacrosse player is probably Tom Shriver. He plays professionally right now. There's a new league called the PLL, the Premier Lacrosse League.
Yep.
And he plays for the Archers. He's a beast.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to that black and white. Don Jim Brown played lacrosse.
Oh yeah,
at Syracuse. And
yeah, he did.
Of course, he's a Hall of Famer. The only Cleveland Brown champion. So
beast. Played 2 sports too. That's hard to do.
So possibilities there, man. Stay optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like you have to stay where you're at. If people look for talent all the time.
Exactly.
Transfer portal's always there. Just don't be like Kelly Bryant when he got benched for Trevor Lawrence and then pouted his way to transferring himself to Missouri because he didn't want to battle for his position back. Don't do things like that because it really just shows that you're weak-minded just because an opportunity didn't really go your way.
Yeah, don't be petty.
Yeah, that was yep. Super petty. But yeah, man, that's excellent. We wish you nothing but luck, man. And if football is the one thing that you want to pursue, hopefully, some colleges see what I saw on tape. I mean, I'm really critical of quarterbacks. I mean, that's why they call me the college quarterback, right? And the one quarterback that I was wrong about in the last 10 years was Cam Newton. I didn't think he was going to be good at all. But, hey, I called stuff like Russell Wilson was going to be good.
Yep.
I said that RG3 was not going to be good. He's going to have one good year and not be good. Like, I called a lot of people being good and not good. So, for whatever reason, man, I have an eye for quarterbacks. And
you got a good judgment
Daniel
for quarterbacks.
Jones?
Huh?
Yeah, you got a good judgment for quarterbacks. I
Yeah.
give you that.
Daniel Jones.
Oh, yeah, and then last year when I predicted, even before the draft, they started talking about that Daniel Jones is going to go to the Giants, and he got drafted
The
there.
Dookie.
Yeah. But I saw what he was at the Giants, or at Duke as well.
Yeah.
So until somebody beats Brown's rushing record in 9 years, he will always be the man.
Yeah, Jim Brown.
We're talking about Jim Brown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
that's very true. Slade's out here with the super Cam. This dude is a super Panthers fan. He misses Cam Newton. Who's your favorite quarterback right now? If you had to say who's your favorite to watch, and who do you model yourself after?
Favorite to watch right now would probably be, I'm going to go with the 2 young guys, like the 2 young stars right now with Mahomes and Jackson. They're probably the most fun to watch just because they're kind of like changing the way that like you look at a quarterback. Like Lamar plays like a crazy athlete and Mahomes is just like has a gunslinger back there. So they're super fun to watch. Model my game after, I would say a guy like Russell Wilson, who seems like he's got like control of the game at all times. And he seems like a good leader. And he's just really sound. I'd say that's a good guy to model your game after.
I knew he was good when he was at NC State, when Florida State was beating them at halftime, and then he came back and smashed us. And I was like, I would never hate on Cam Newton, Russell Wilson ever again. And then, fun fact, if you didn't know this, did you know Russell Wilson was going to get benched the next year for Mike Glennon? Do you know where Mike Glennon's at right now? Third stringing for somebody's team. I think for the Buccaneers, actually. But Mike Glennon, because he said that the coach said that he wanted a starter or a senior to start. Russell Wilson then proceeded to transfer out to Wisconsin and win the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Anything is possible just because somebody doesn't see it in you, just because of the height, just because of everything.
Yeah, Mike Lennon.
Oh, for the Jaguars. Oh, God.
That's his team.
I knew it was one of those Florida teams, but I forgot it was us. Holy crap.
Yo, Don, the stat guru.
Oh, this is insane. But yeah, man, if somebody says that you can't do something just because they don't see it, man, a lot of other people will see your talent for something else. You know who I see you being a lot like? And there's one quarterback that I used to love in college, and he came to the NFL and was complete trash. But go look up Brady Quinn highlights when he was at Notre Dame. or Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Brady Quinn was the man.
He was good.
I think he got snubbed out of the Heisman one year.
Yeah.
But also the other snubbed out of the Heisman just because somebody had a little bit better year than he did. Oh God, now he has a statue and does nothing for the NFL except for be a backup.
Brady
was
Quinn,
Robert Griffin III.
Brady Quinn got the status because he went to Notre Dame. That boy is stiff as a board. My man Sam Forte is fluent.
Yeah.
But did you watch him at Notre Dame?
Yeah,
he
I
had
did.
little feeties, man. He was smart,
for-
but by the time he got to the NFL, like you said, he became stiff as a freaking ironing board, yo.
Yeah. So, yeah, Sam, good luck to you, man. I know you're gonna do well. You got a good head on your shoulders, and you came from a long line of brothers, man. You are super tough, mentally, physically, and you are very well spoken, man.
Yeah, it's highly unlikely to find somebody that's as well spoken as you. So, with that being said, man, anything you need as far as like any way I can help you as far as like graphic design, getting your tape together at the end of the year to send out to recruiters, I got you, man. I'll send you a video I did of Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's fire.
Yeah, I'll send you that video so you can kind of see what I did for him. But another guy, really, Dalvin Cook went through a lot of things for committing to 4 schools before he came upon Florida State as his last one, to being accused of a lot of stuff in college. Because Nelson will tell you some stories about in college that like people are just gunning for you, especially some of the wrong people. I'm not gonna say women or men, but some of the wrong people that you can get yourself involved with. And he went through all of that and came out to being one of the best teammates people say he is. Jimbo Fisher, man, why'd you have to leave Florida State? But Jimbo Fisher still says he's like one of his favorite players ever. And just how he's revered in the league now. As long as he can stay healthy, he's gonna be one of the best running backs that we've seen today. So looking at people's stories like that is pretty cool. So that's somebody, if you want to go back and see all the stuff that he had to go through, but I always call him the quiet assassin because he doesn't say too much. Let's see the comments here from Facebook. Slade, Quinn was the Browns quarterback in the greatest game no one watched. That horrible Lions game versus the Browns that game was insane.
It was insane.
Another person I see you modeling yourself after as well. I saw a lot of Brady Quinn when I watched your tape, so that's why I mentioned that. Back in college, not the NFL version of Brady Quinn because he was trash. But Matthew Stafford, because I've seen a couple highlights of you getting completely smashed and then you throwing the ball downfield still and getting it accurate out your hand. Now,
Matthew Stafford's a tough guy. I've noticed that for sure. Two minute drill king too. He's a beast at the end of games.
He is one of the ultimate leaders, man. I think somebody like Bill Belichick would really enjoy having somebody like Matt Stafford on his team. I mean, now he has Cam Newton, but really somebody that would work really well under Bill Belichick's system would be somebody like Matthew Stafford. Because he's so versatile. I mean, think about it. It's kind of like Jalen Hurts. It kind of reminds me of that too because of how many playbooks and how many different offensive schemes that he's had to learn over the years. How many head coaches has this guy had in his career? And it's not like he's performing bad. Not like the Browns have just performed bad. Everybody performed bad, even the quarterbacks. But Matthew Stafford always seems to be like the shining light in the Lions offense that always does pretty well. And for whatever people want to say about when Megatron was there, he's been doing pretty decent with the stuff he's been given and not and not have done bad. So
Stafford's worth his contract. He's been consistent over the years. He's been over 4,000 plus. So I think if he gets out of Detroit, that's when you'll see his potential. That's when you see the talent that he possessed. But right now he's just in a low market area in Detroit, and you just don't know what he can do. If you think about it, all his televised games are on Thanksgiving Day, so we don't see his accuracy. We don't see his passing on every given Sunday like Aaron Rodgers or a Lamar Jackson. He's just in a bad state right now as far as Michigan. So, it's going to be interesting to see him in the future if he gets traded.
The way that the Lions are holding on to him with dear life, it looks like his career is probably going to end with the Lions too if somebody doesn't hurt him before his career is over or when it's supposed to be over. But But yeah, man, that dude is the bicentennial man. He gets hurt and keeps going. So, Sam, I hope you're just like Matt Stafford when you're mic'd up. That's Slade saying that from Facebook. Ask Sam about his offers. We did earlier. Which school did you say you had an offer from? Or was it just they were looking at you?
It's just communication, Lycoming University.
Gotcha. So you haven't had anybody else reach out to you as far as football?
Not for football.
No.
Well, hopefully you'll get some, man, and hopefully people see. Not only do you have to have the physical game, you also have to have the mental game. You have to have the professional game outside of football as well. So hopefully, you can show this to whatever school is looking at you and say, hey, man, I can talk the talk too. So, and from what Nelson said, you're mentally tough. You're always the first one in, first one out kind of guy mentality, and we hope that
he can study a playbook. He knows it ins and out, and that's what they look for. Recruiters look for somebody with not only book smarts but football knowledge, and consistently he's in the classroom in the back getting the right answer and then drawing up the play. That's him.
Yeah. So as long as you got all that stuff, man, I'm sure that sometimes you might not have the numbers, but I know of people that have gotten recruited to big schools, and it's just because of their intangibles. They had really good intangibles, and they just played for a really bad team, which is unfortunate. And I know you're with a good team. I know Nelson is a good coach. He knows what it's like to get to the Division I, and as far as going to the combines as well. I know he's got a little bit of experience on how that process went too. So, hey, man, you're in good hands. Just kill it this year, and we'll be watching. I'll probably try to get out to a couple games when this whole COVID thing chills out. Hopefully, you guys can have fans. Are you guys have fans at the game yet?
It's a little
or is
tricky.
It just only family?
It's only parents. So you get
sense.
a ticket, and it's seated. It's maximum security here when it comes to these high school games now with the CDC rules. So,
so we want to end this podcast with one question for you. Name one or a couple teammates who are some up and comers that you want to give a shout out to and tell them that people better watch out for.
Yeah, for sure. We got first guy I want to talk about. He's playing quarterback right now while I'm gone, but he's a receiver. Is Kalen Frazier. He's a beast. I mean, like, favorite guy to throw to. He's just an animal out there. Always works super hard too. He knows the game. He's great. Then you got Connor Young. He's a running back, fullback for us. He loves the game so much, works super hard. And then the last guy I'll say is or two more. Vincent Cressy. He's just a unicorn. That's what I call him. He's one of a kind type of player. And then I got those are all Canuck kids. And then my guy Pat Methley at Salesianum High School. He's a left guard, and he's just an absolute animal. So if anyone wants to check those guys out, they're beasts.
Cool, man. Yeah, thanks for shouting those guys out. And we also want you to go against the grain, too. This is a two-part question. Who is somebody from another school that you don't know personally that you want to give a shout-out to just because they're a really good player? You played against them?
They've been well, I got to think about this one a little bit. I'm going to go with another Sally's guy just because I've been watching their games a lot because of my boy that I just shouted out. But Dylan Mooney, he plays quarterback. He's like me. He doesn't really have a lot of football offers out there, but he's a beast. And he'll be getting them after this year for sure.
Cool, man.
Good stuff.
That's excellent. See, we try to hit you up with the selfishness questions right there. Hey, man, you're an A+ in our book, and we want to close up the podcast by telling everybody come check out Sam Forte, Cannon High School. If you're in the area, look out for his stats, look out for the games, look out for the highlights. I know he's on Max Preps and all those other websites like that. So hopefully your high school actually updates the stats so we don't have to reach out to the statisticians out there. So we're going to go ahead and flash your stats one more time for everybody. Oop, not that one. Sam Forte stats. There we go. There it is. So go ahead and look up his stats. We don't know why you're not recruited because you can play both sides of the ball really well. It's kind of crazy. All right. And then lastly, we want to shout out to our sponsors one more time. Thanks to the Cabin Rental Store, Afloat Posters, and Stout Web Solutions for sponsoring this week's episode. Hope to see you guys back for the next week. And as far as our next episode goes,
2 weeks from today,
man, Josh Kamicha
Karadima.
Karadima. There we go.
Josh Karadima.
Josh, why do I keep saying Kamicha?
I don't know. I'm trying to shorten it a little bit.
Josh.
Yeah, Josh Karadima, the video assistant from the Tennessee Titans. That's going to be a really good episode.
Hey, he
right
used to
there.
be a video assistant down at Florida State. That's
Yeah,
where
man.
he got started, man.
Hey, man,
Nice.
he's okay in my book. So that's going to be the next episode. So we hope to see you guys come back for that one. And Sam, you know the hashtag, right?
Hashtag always go for two.
That's
There
right.
it is.
Hey.
Love it.
You know what I'm saying? So it's never a gimme. Go ahead and with it, Sam.
Always go for two.
There
Love
we
it.
go. We'll see you guys in the next
you.
episode.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Go for Two podcast. Follow us on Facebook and Anchor to keep up with the latest releases, news, and updates on the guys and all the current football news. If you like what you heard and don't want to miss an episode, find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, and Spotify.